Ladies and gentlemen, the battle is on. It takes place inside our bodies and inside the bodies of our pets. An army of tiny organisms is constantly battling for the well-being of our pets. Affinity Pet Care is a company that is mastering these tiny organisms. Please welcome our hot topic sponsor, Affinity Pet Care, in person of Alba Matos.
So good morning to everyone. Thank you for being here. So as Daniel said, I'm Alba from Affinity Pet Care, that it's a pet food company, and where we have been thinking for a long time how we can help our pets through the nutrition. So if we think about how we can help our immune system, also the pet's immune system, we have to essentially talk about microbiota. So why we will focus this presentation on microbiota is because it's something essential that we need for our lives. So we are born with microbiota and we will die with microbiota, so we need them. Also, we know that in humans we are more microbial than humans at the end. It's because we have more microorganisms in our body than cells, so that's why it's so important to take care of them. And finally, there are a lot of publications that says that microbiota is the biggest organ we have. So even we cannot see them, it's the most important organ we have. But what is microbiota? So I think that you already know. So we have a lot of information. But we have to see that almost 100% of this microbiota are bacteria. We have other microorganisms, but almost all of them are bacteria. Each of us, we have a specific microbiota, so my microbiota, it's only for me, but it's true that humans, pets, we follow some patterns that we have to take into account. And the thing is that microbiota, it's not only to be important in the intestine, but it's related with a lot of functions that our body has. And also, it's very important to keep our health and to be protected against any infection. So maybe we can think that microbiota is something new, but the reality it's not. So microbiota has been on the earth for all the earth lives. But it's true that it was not until 17th century, a guy with a name I cannot pronounce discovered built a microscope, and for the first time, he was able to see the microorganism. After that, 200 years later, we had two guys that were really important in the scientific life, let's say, because with them, the era of vaccination, sterilization, and also antibiotics started. Until then, no one could understand how antibiotics are so important. And after that, we have had a lot of discoveries trying to understand why this microbiota is so important and trying to see that at the end the genetics of this microbiota. But it's true that in 2007, the Human Microbiome Project was already set. So it's quite new, but it was only 12 years ago that the first microbiome for the humans was described. So it's really new. It's just 12 years ago. And in the last years, we have had a lot of information about how the microbiota is related with the health. So if we have good microbiota, we are healthier, we are better. And also that it's quite important, there are some diseases that we are facing really important as a society, like some cancers, and it has been seen that if we have a good microbiota, we can prevent or at least try to diminish the effect of these important diseases. So that's why microbiota, although it's something that it's really old, nowadays is getting more and more importance. So I think that if I show you this picture, for sure you know it. So yogurts, we can say that are the first products that were helpful for our microbiota. But also we can see some other products that are trying to help not only the intestinal microbiota, but also other microbiotas we have, like the skin microbiota. We have also plenty of information, so if you are with nothing to do on a Saturday, you can see a lot of documentals about microbiota, and it's really interesting because they explain how the microbiota is related with the brain, and that's why microbiota is, or the gut is called the second brain in our body. So more and more, we have more information about that, at least in humans. So, well, I invite you to see this information because it's really helpful. But what happens with dogs and cats? Unfortunately, everything that is in humans discovered for dogs and cats is later, but the thing is that we already know that microbiota is also important for dogs and cats, and that there are a lot of information about how microbiota in dogs and cats can affect their health. In fact, for example, nowadays we know that there is a strong correlation between the microbiota and some diseases like epilepsy in dogs, and just with controlling the microbiota, we can prevent this epilepsy in dogs. So obviously, we need more and more information, but microbiota, it's the key to keep the health of our pets. So, as I said, microbiota is on the large intestine. So, 70% of the microbiota is in the gut. And as I said, almost 100% of them is bacteria. We have different species that I will not go into detail now, but the important thing here is when we consider that a dog or a cat or even us, we have a good microbiota. So we can see that we have a good microbiota when we have some species that are considered good, and also when we have a lot of diversity. So it's known that more diversity means better bacteria, better microbiota. So it's important because everything that we do in our body will be with the focus to increment this diversity and to move the microbiota to some species that are good species. As I said, we know a lot of things about the microbiota that is in the gut, but it's true that we have plenty of microbiotas in the body. So we have the oral microbiota, respiratory microbiota, skin microbiota, and it means just 30%, but for sure in the future we will know more information about them and how with some products like the creams I show you at the beginning can help also these other microbiotas. And here is the key. So microbiota, it's related with many functions, but it's true that we know that it's very related with the neurological state or neurological diseases, even for stress, depression, and also with the immune system. So if we have a good microbiota, the immune system will be stronger, and that's why microbiota is so important to keep or to prevent any infection that we can get. So there are many factors that affect microbiota. I said at the beginning that microbiota is unique for each of us. So we have a lot of factors that cannot be controlled, like, for example, in case of dogs and cats, the breed, the gender, the age. But then we have other factors that we can do something to modify the microbiota. One is medication. So any medication we give to dogs and cats can affect the microbiota, and normally it's in a bad way, so we have to reduce a lot the medication we give to them. The lifestyle, it's very important, so you have to give relaxed lives for your pets just to be good. But it's true that diet, it's the one thing that it's really easy to use it to modify this microbiota. And I try to calculate how many times a dog eats. So a dog with a life expectancy of 10 years is eating more than 7,000 times per life. So it means that we have more than 7,000 opportunities to help this dog to modify the microbiota. So it's a tool that it's really easy for us, and it can help them a lot. So that's why we have been focused in that microbiota in advance, because we think that, as I told you, it's a tool that it's quite easy and it's under our control. So even we have been working with Advanced for a long time, trying to reinforce the immune system. Now we have been able to include probiotics. It has not been an easy way, because it has a lot of steps before to make sure that these probiotics are doing a good effect through the diet, but now we have been able to include these probiotics to the diets that are for dogs. So as I said, we have been working how through the diet we can reinforce the immune system. We have been doing it with different immunonutrients, but now we have added the probiotics. So how is advanced now? On the one hand, we have the ingredients, so we cannot forget the ingredients. They are really important to give the pets the nutrients they need. So we are focusing on fresh meat, cereals, and vegetables. But on the other hand, we are including what we call active defense, that it's a group of, let's say, ingredients, and one of them, the new one, is the probiotics. But you will see that also prebiotics and fibers all together can play a role really important in the microbiota. So when we talk about probiotics, it's a word that it's in our life, but sometimes it's not clear what a probiotic is compared with prebiotics. So I think that it's important to understand that when we eat, we get some fibers. Fibers are really important because they cannot be used by the microbiota, but are really important to control the gut. We have prebiotics. Prebiotics are somehow fibers too, but they can be used as a food for the microbiota. So if we eat prebiotics, our microbiota will have more food, so this microbiota will be stronger. And then we have probiotics. Probiotics are the live bacteria, so they arrive to the gut just to increase the family of microorganisms that we have there. So all three together can play a really important role to increase this microbiota. And also, I will not go into detail now, but we are also including immunoglobulins just to reinforce the immune system of the intestine. So what happens when we give to our pets this combination? I think that it's somehow easy to understand, but it's an effect really important. The first one is that we will increase the diversity of microbiota. I said before that more diversity means healthier microbiota. And also we will move the microbiota from bad microorganisms to good microorganisms. Also in the intestine, we have a mucus that it's like a barrier between the intestine and the blood, trying to avoid an infection from the intestine to the blood. So when we give to our pets probiotics, prebiotics, and fibers, we can make this mucus stronger. Also, the cells of the intestine are more close and more together when we give to them the good nutrients like probiotics, prebiotics, and fibers. So it will help us to prevent also an infection. And finally, when a pathogen is arriving to there is nothing to do. So we have a strong, good microbiota, we have a strong intestine, so the bad pathogens, they don't have anything to do, and in that way we are able to prevent an infection. So until here it's somehow theory, so it can be explained by anyone, but it's true that the important thing is how it is in the real world, how is it in real dogs. So we did a trial just with one with a dog and one with a cat. I will be very simple with the results, just to show you which is the effect that we can have through the diet on that microbiota. So here you have the diversity we saw after giving probiotics to those dogs. We have 2 diets with probiotics and 1 diet that is this control diet without probiotics. And you can see that when we give probiotics, the diversity is increasing. And if you remember, we said that more diversity means better microbiota. So more microbiota diversity, more health, and this is the first effect we have when we give to those pets advanced with probiotics. Also in the gut we have like a part of our immune system that is the first immune system that arrived to to the intestine infection. And we can see that if we include probiotics, this immune system will be stronger, and it's able to produce more antibodies in a local stage. So you can see here that the level of antibodies in those diets with probiotics, it's much higher compared with those with the diet that was without probiotics. So it means that more antibodies, more health. These dogs will be more prepared to fight against an infection they have in the future. So it's not to treat any disease, but why not to prevent any disease, right? And the same for cat. In that case, we tried to see how is the effect just with prebiotics. So if you remember, probiotics are the live bacteria, prebiotics are fibers, but prebiotics are also important in this effect. So let's see what happened with these cats. What we saw, it was quite interesting because it's not happening in the intestine, but you can see that we vaccinate those cats, and the orange line, it's the diet with prebiotics, and the blue line, it's the diet without prebiotics. We vaccinated these cats with leukemia virus vaccine, and you can see that 5 days after, the level of antibodies of those cats with prebiotics were 73% more, and 11 days after vaccination, the level of antibodies was 78% more. So it means that more antibodies, more health, those cats that were supplemented with these prebiotics, they were able to respond stronger to a vaccination. So it means that obviously if it's happening with a vaccination, also will happen with a real infection. So these are the results we have. They are quite simple, but it's just to show you how we can have a strong effect just with the diet. So just to summarize these ideas, we know that microbiota is essential for our life and for our pet's life. And it's important because it plays a lot of functions, but the immune system, I would say that it's the most important one. It can help us to have a stronger immune system. And I think that nowadays everyone is concerned about the immune system after COVID situation. So we have to be able to fight against an infection we have. And we have been working trying to help those pets just with the diet through all our life. But it's true that now we are able to include the probiotics. So that's why we are focusing this presentation on microbiota. And just to finalize, just to show you the products that are reinforced with that idea. So we have all the portfolio for dogs, even for regular products, but also for some specialties like dogs with sensitive problems. So also in those kind of diets, we can include probiotics and reinforce that support to the immune system. Then also, well, some snacks that are supplementing this portfolio. For the cats, the same. We have the same effect of the diet. So with prebiotics, we are pushing the immune system of those cats. And finally, we have the bed diets. Bed diets, we are seeing also how to include probiotics, because we have seen that in some diets, if we include probiotics, we are even more able to prevent or to control the disease. So now we are on that way, and for sure probiotics will help us also in some diseases. So just let me show you a video to finalize the presentation.
At Advance, we know that the most important thing for our pet parents is protecting their pet. That is why, after years of research in Europe and the United States, Advance has arrived at a scientific revolution that will help keep healthy the main barrier of the organism, the microbiota, healthy. Its exclusive formula, Active Defense, renews. And it includes probiotics, natural prebiotics, and fiber in their daily food. These scientifically proven ingredients allow us to help keep intestinal microbiota healthy, which is key to a strong defense. Advance Active Defense. The future of the microbiota is here.
So, well, I invite you to visit us. We are a little bit far from here, but easy. And just because we have the gift for the microbiota that it's free Aperol each afternoon. So if you want, you can visit us. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Alba, for your dive into microbiota.